Tommy, so the heart of your book is all about the table and all the delicious recipes that you have in the book. But I want to talk about the table and the symbolism behind it. You position it as a really sacred space of healing and a communal sort of place. What does the table symbolize to you in your life right now?
Mhm. So the table of life for me today is more than I could have ever imagined, right? So the premise of the book is to teach people how to build their own table, one dish at a time, using all of the ingredients of their life. Where I am today, I feel like I've built my table and it's loaded with dishes full of the ingredients of my life. Where there were many years where the food that was on my table did not taste good to me, but I had not included all of the ingredients of my life. I thought I had to tuck and hide aspects of my life because then that would prevent me from being invited to sit at someone else's table.
Hmm.
When I came into my own, recognizing who I was, my value and my worth, I realized I don't need to chase someone else's table. I can really take the time and build my own. And I've done that. And so now I'm in the phase of my life where my table is set. And I have been inviting women from all over to take a seat at my table to get nourishment so that then they are empowered to go forward and to build their own tables using all of the ingredients from their life, to have that courage to recognize, no, every aspect of who you are belongs in your dishes, and the people that should be sitting with you, that they will be fully nourished by the ingredients that are in your dishes.
Okay. And how do you teach these women to create their own table at home?
So I have many ways that I'm doing that. I have the Table of Life retreat that I've been doing now for 12 years, where women come from all over and um, we have an opportunity to engage in life where it's not just about hard stuff. It's also about recognizing that you're worthy of joy too.
Mm. Yeah.
And so we spend time doing that. And then I have the Table of Life workshops and the Table of Life dinners. The
Okay.
dinners are intimate gatherings with women. And when I say intimate, it is 10 to 20 women. And we're sitting down and I chef for everyone. And we sit down and we talk. And we talk about life. And the women, if you were at the table and we closed our eyes and we were just listening to what was being said,
Hmm.
we're like, oh, I can relate to that. Oh, I had that experience. And the women at the table may not look like you, they may not come from where you come from, but there is an experience that women have that just is unmatched.
Yeah.
But it's so relatable to other women. And we have we're moving through life creating these like cliques. Like we're in high school,
Right.
creating cliques, and
Yeah.
you don't belong in my clique. You're not good enough for my clique. Where if we just stopped and said, no, she's like me, we're able to really go so much further. We're able to glean from each other's bought sense because we've already paid the price. And life doesn't have to be as hard. The lessons don't have to be as challenging because we can glean from wisdom from other people. And so for me, it is all about not me telling people what to do, but giving women the opportunity to recognize that everything she needs, it's in her already.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out how to bring it up and bring
Yeah.
it out so it's actualized in their life.
Beautiful. And you're providing such a beautiful container for them to do that.
Hmm.
And you're just listening to you describe it, just the conversations and the sharing that happens at these tables. It's just making me feel a sense of warmth because I feel like this is what's lacking in our society. There is a
Mhm.
loneliness epidemic, as you know. People can't really find real friends. And we need spaces like this where we can share and where we're not having that click like mentality, where we're open to sharing and connecting with all types of people and finding that commonality that can heal us and also that can
Yes.
make us more human.
Mm, absolutely. And, Celine, if we're not intentional about doing that now, especially in this day and age, we won't get it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Everything right now is designed to have less human interaction. And we can either choose to just keep running down that road, or we can be very intentional about our human engagement with other people. And gathering at the table, to me, I've witnessed it growing up of how powerful it is, even when life is hard. So there's
Mm.
something about sitting at the table, and food is a universal language.
Yes, it is.
Everyone eats, and everyone there, most people, if not all, they have traditions of dishes that mean something to them, a food memory that they have that can generate, to like you talked about, warmth and comfort. That is something that can happen at the table. And so when I'm cooking the food, I'm not thinking about, you know, calories and, thinking about the things that will cause us to go into even more condemnation. I'm thinking about food that feels like comfort and tastes like home. What
Yeah.
is the food that someone will sit down with me at this table and they're going to feel like they're getting a big hug, like the big hug I used to get from my Nana Edie?
Mm. Yeah, people are so emotional about food and it can be so tied to their identity. I've noticed that as, I've met people who can't eat anything but the food that they grew up with. Like I've met
Hmm.
them and that they don't want to try anything different because it's like they're so tethered to the memory behind the foods that they ate at
Hmm.
home, like the pie that their grandma made when they were a kid or a sandwich that their mom used to make in the kitchen. So it's like you do talk about food as memory and identity. And I'd love for us to get into that a little bit, like how we can use food to reconnect with ourselves rather than numb out.
Hmm. So I mentioned to you that when I was going through therapy, part of that healing for me was getting in the kitchen at what I
Mm.
call soul food therapy.
Yeah.
And what was happening in therapy as I was talking through things and where I was and
Mhm.
just figuring out what was happening with me, I kept having visions of my Nana Edie's kitchen.
Hmm.
And she lived on the corner in Eggers Crossing in Lawrence, New Jersey. And so there was traffic coming this way, going, one way and then coming the other way. And everyone stopped off at Nana Edie's house, whether it was on their way to work or it was on their way home.
Hmm.
And she always had food. And it didn't matter how many people came by, there was always food to feed people who came. And so I saw how powerful food was, the ability to feed people. Like, so when you're weary and you're tired and you're exhausted coming from work, or you're dreading the day because you have to go into work, that moment in Nana Edie's kitchen, they laughed and they smiled, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And then I recognized there's something to that when you are able to nourish someone and the nourishment comes from your ingredient of love, right? There's physical ingredients that go into food, but the person that is preparing the food has an opportunity to make the greatest deposit, the greatest ingredient, and that is their love. And
Yeah.
so when food is prepared by someone who is looking to give, you can feel that. You can feel when, like, it just, the food feels like this is beyond you
Yeah,
know,
that's so
whatever
interesting.
the dish is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because
it's
they
just like
infuse their energy into the food, so it tastes different. Yeah, because I'm just like remembering my grandma, like she was feeding me rice and lentil, in her village, and I was like, it felt me with so much joy as she was feeding
mm-hmm,
me, and I was just like, why does that taste different? It was so simple. It was just rice and lentil cooked in the most basic way, but it just felt so special. And like as you're talking about it, it just that memory flashed in my mind.
absolutely. Because
Yeah.
you felt and experienced her love. You know
Yeah.
how special that is for your grandmom to nourish you?
Yeah, it seemed like a big deal. Yeah.
And so that's when people have an opportunity to experience that in the food at the table. It's transformative.
Yeah.
It is transformative. And it also is like, so with my family, I call our ability to get to the table, it's our opportunity to conduct a pulse check
Yeah.
because you don't know if someone needs resuscitation. But
Sure.
when we're in front of each other, we
Hmm.
can see each other's faces, expressions, and we have an ability to say, all right, let's talk about it.
Hmm.
Masks come off, people drop their defenses, and you're able to really go deeper instead of the surface level that we present when we're outside of our homes, in our workplaces, in our schools, and whatever we're doing when we're interfacing with other people. We can be safe and we can be vulnerable.
Mm. Yeah. And we're living in a time where people are eating on the go or they're eating behind their laptop, their computer. And I think
Mm-hmm.
uh, they miss out on the communal nature of a meal, which is something that our ancestors, our grandparents
Mm-hmm.
were able to relish. And you're reminding us of the importance of kind of bringing back that practice.
Mm-hmm. Do you cook at all? Like, so you talked about your grandmother with the rice and the lentils.
Yeah.
Like, is that a dish that you make today?
No, no. Um, but I'm a decent cook, but I'm not really good with making rice and lentil, but I'm good at making smoothies. Yeah,
Because
you
I
caught me
think
off
about,
guard.
oh, no worries. Listen, because I think of recipes as heirlooms. You know,
Okay,
people talk about leaving a heritage for
right.
the generations to
Yeah, yeah,
come.
yeah,
When we keep moving recipes forward
yeah.
and we put them on the table of the generations, they're getting an opportunity to meet their ancestors at the table. They're experiencing them through the dishes and the food that we prepare.
So
So
true.
I believe that
Yeah.
recipes are, for me, it's the greatest heirloom I can give to my children, to my grandchildren, because they can always find me there. They can
Mm.
find me on their table when they prepare those recipes, even when I'm no longer here.